Well, hello, what's going on? This is TJ Murphy, and welcome to another episode of Adventurous Entrepreneurs. My guest today is Tyler Kinert. From being broke and going through bankruptcy, climbing out of that hole and finding his way, Tyler is an example of no matter what happens in life, you can change it. Hard work, consistency, passion, and a positive mindset. It's all you need. And in this conversation, we dive into how Tyler has achieved the life he wants to live by turning a passion into a career that he loves, and how you can too. Just a few of the golden takeaways Tyler shares in this episode are why bankruptcy isn't the end and can actually create a new beginning, how to market and grow a solopreneur business effectively from day one, and lessons learned from being a professional head football coach. So without further ado, this is Tyler Kinert and me. Welcome to the Adventurous Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm your host, TJ Murphy. Since quitting my corporate 9-to-5 and starting a business while backpacking through Asia back in early 2017, I've had the privilege of learning from some incredibly adventurous entrepreneurs. Through these conversations and my own journey, I've learned that much like in life, entrepreneurship is an adventure. On this podcast, I explore the journeys of top-performing leaders in their fields. These wide-ranging conversations include tactical business advice, how I built this insights, lessons in leadership, life hacks, travel stories, favorite hobbies, and insights into living a purposeful and joy-filled life. Adventures await us, so let's dive in. Hey, Tyler, welcome to Adventurous Entrepreneurs.
How's it going, man? It's good to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure. I've been looking forward to having you on ever since we first met. And I'm gonna get a little woo-woo here for a second. You know, that feeling when you can sense somebody's passion and just see that your values and personalities align, and you just get like a little tingle of excitement and connection when you first talk to them. And I don't know, maybe that's just me and I'm being weird, but I totally got that the first time we chatted. And I know you have a ton of great insights to share. So let's dive into it, man.
Hey, first of all, I appreciate that, man, because I felt the same way when we talked. I felt like we, vibed on a lot of like
some bromance.
Yeah, we had a lot of similar interests and stuff. So I appreciate that. But yeah, no, thanks for having me. Like I said,
yeah, man.
I'm excited to talk about whatever questions you have for me, man, because I have lots of things to share, lots of stories, and I've been through lots of things, ups and downs through business and life. So totally, I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, you've been on a journey, like you said, lots of ups and downs, bumps in the road, but here you are, turning your passion into a thriving career, and you've got a story to tell. So, what led you to become the adventurous entrepreneur you are today?
Oh man, honestly, that might have started when I was young. I was always into, let me get out there and do a car wash. Let me get out there and sell some lemonade. When I was a kid, I was always like trying to let my parents let me do something like that. Or on the other side of things, I had a lot of opportunities to grab a video camera and play around with my parents' video camera and make a lot of like movies at home. My friends and I would make tons of movies when we were kids. And that's kind of like where a lot of the passion behind that started, because I had so much fun doing that when I was a kid. But besides that, man, growing up, I always loved being able to do the things that I love to do. I know how cliche that sounds, but
no.
my passion behind, like, all right, I wanted to be my own, my own business owner. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be able to create my own schedule. That all started way before, like I even thought about being a photographer. So when I was 15 years old, I started doing a newspaper route, and my mom really was just like, you need to, start paying some bills, and I'm not always going to pay your bills. And she kind of was like the motivator behind that. And my mom has always been a very passionate lady herself. She has always been very, very motivated to, work hard and do multiple jobs and help a lot of people and stuff like that. And so I always had those type of people in my life to see, you know, some influence behind, all right, I need to not be lazy, get up off the couch, go get some things done. And so uh yeah, man, it
Yeah,
also,
I mean, having those role models, like especially from your mom. My mom was the same way. She
yeah.
she worked hard, man. She worked late. She worked long weeks, and eventually got to a point where she was able to kind of semi-retire and spend more time with the kids. But when I was growing up, like both my parents, they worked hard and they weren't always around. And I knew that they were, busting their butts for us. And it really set the stage for me to know what hard work really meant. But I loved what you said was like doing what you love, because I mean that's what you're doing now. You're a photographer, you're passionate about photography. And I'm curious, what has the experience of building your business been like for you? And what advice do you have for folks who may not be chasing something that they're actually passionate about? They built a business because it was lucrative, but they hate it, or they're stuck in a job and they want to make a shift. What was that shift like for you that allowed you to take the leap?
It's scary at first. I think it's scary for a lot of people that are like, I don't want to not have that steady income. And I think that's always, the worry for a lot of people. But for me, it was more about, all right, I've worked, like I said, since I was 15 years old. Basically half my life now I've been working jobs that I did not like or love. And I felt just tired and beat up, and I'm not even that old yet. I'm
Nope.
like, I'm talking to, millions of people that could be, feeling the same way. But for me, I was just like, I'm going to make a change. So I had an opportunity where I was working a job that I was only working 4 days a week. And so I was able to plug photography in for those other 3 days of the week. And so I was able to do quite a bit of photography. But when I was working my last job, our bosses pulled us in one day and told us that they weren't we weren't gonna we were shutting down. They're shutting down the business. All right. And so I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go full steam ahead into photography and dive right into this. And I had already been doing photography for like 2 years ahead of that. And so I had a little bit of, clientele built up and stuff like that. And jumping into it, doing it full time was scary, but I think it's a great feeling when you have that free will to create your own schedule, be able to work with people that you want to work with, you're happy with working with them, because the end of the day, coming home and feeling like you just hate your job and hate that day-to-day process, that gets so tiring. And man, we only got one life to live. So man,
Amen.
be happy, man. Be happy. Try to be doing what you like to do. And it's not easy for everybody to do, but
No,
I
it's
try to I try to preach it.
for sure, man. It's not easy, man. And I don't want to ever make it sound like starting a business is an easy thing to just jump off and start doing, because you need to have that security to be able to start a business. And I always tell people, if it is something that you can side hustle and you've got stable income and you've got the time like you did, like what a gift there to have those 3 days where you could really build a foundation,
Mhm.
get your clients, have some experience, build up your portfolio, create some reputation for yourself. And then, life just threw you that curveball, which
Yep.
kind of a curveball that ended up being a blessing in disguise. Like, all right,
Yeah,
now the rug's pulled out from under you. You don't have a job, but hey, you put in the work and you've got something that now you can really lean into and turn into something you're passionate about. So I love that
exactly.
story. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's how I saw it. I was just like, this was an opportunity for me to take that leap and, dive headfirst into photography. But photography was an interesting business to just start, because it's like, man, there's so many people who are photographers out there or claim they're
Anyone
photographers.
you need, anybody with a camera can be a
Anybody.
photographer, but
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And there's so many little editing apps nowadays that can really help people edit photos and stuff like that. But for me, I was just like, all right, how do I, sell something that people don't really need? And for me, it was the passion and, the story. And like I do mainly weddings. So storytelling was a huge thing for me. It was like, how do I tell this couple's love story? How do I show their love and how they feel about each other in the best photos or the best video that I possibly can, and so it was just a different approach I tried to take to photography. Like, oh, I'm not the best photographer. I'm not going to go out there and tell you that I'm the best photographer in the US or Oregon or whatever, but
Yeah.
I'll work hard and I will do my best to give you the best photos that I can absolutely give you. And I will do my best to tell your story and, give you the best product. And I think, having that relationship with my clients was, is a huge part of it as well. And so, yeah. And so starting the business into photography was, all right, let's do good photos for one. And then the other one was, let's have, someone on the other side of the camera that people actually like and that they're actually going to enjoy shooting photos with. And I become friends with a lot of people that I meet and shoot photos with. And it's a cool part of this. I meet a lot of cool people through photography.
Dude, 100%. I mean, the human element is so often, I think, what is missed in most businesses, having those really personal touch points, like building relationships with your clients. If you're a service-based business, having like that human element, even if it's software, like you need to talk to people like they're human and create value on that human level. And I mean, your work speaks for itself. You've got an amazing portfolio. Clearly, you've been able to capture and really tell some amazing stories for your clients. And weddings are tough, man. That's a lot of pressure because
Yeah.
let me tell you, those brides and the brides' moms, especially, they want everything just
Perfect.
right. They
Yeah,
want it perfect.
exactly.
And if it's not perfect, and if you're not that smiling face on the other side of the camera that provides an amazing experience, they're going to chip away at you. And
Exactly. And I've been very lucky. I've got to work with a bunch of amazing people. But speaking of portfolio, for me, that was one of the main things when I was first starting my business. I was just like, all right, I need to have a great website. And I feel like a lot of people are missing out on that. They feel like, all right, I'm gonna just go off Instagram, I'm gonna just go off Facebook. But I'm telling people
hard
right
way to
now,
go.
I'm telling people right now that's not enough because I get so many leads from my website. Like the majority of my leads come through my website. And it's, yeah, having a nice, well-developed web page that people can go to, see all your work, go through and read about you, see photos of you, see who you are, contact you easily. It's very important to have. I recommend everybody who's starting a business get a good website.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be the first thing you focus on,
No.
but it definitely needs to be there because
Yes.
just using photography as an example, like I'm sure you're listed on all of those wedding sites where people can find and look at
Everywhere.
reviews, and they're all going to come where? To your website. Like
Yeah.
they want to see that credibility. They don't want to just go to your Instagram and Facebook. They're going to want to look at those too. So you should have those and make them look good. But the
Yeah.
website is the hub. That's your virtual office where they're going to actually learn about you and get that first human experience, ideally, if you've set it up right, that ultimately leads them down the path to choosing you, or at least having that first consultation. And for you, I'm sure you're also focused on the SEO and making sure that the site's findable online, and that's where you're getting a lot of those leads.
Yeah, the Google listing is very important as well. Like I try to get a lot of my clients and the people that I work with to, give me Google reviews and,
Yeah.
recommendations and stuff like that, because a lot of people go and look at those and read those, and those are important. So yeah, having a good, landing on, Google searches is important as well, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just the people that are looking at those reviews, it's the Google algorithm
Yeah,
itself. Like it's a huge factor in determining who's going to show up where in the search results. So
exactly.
yeah, I always tell my clients that don't have reviews, I'm like, you've been sleeping on this, but you can't sleep forever. Like look at your competitors. They've all got 50, 100, 200 plus reviews. Now it's going to be really hard for you to catch up with
Yeah.
that. And it's harder to go back and ask clients for reviews months or years later. So Start now. If you're listening, start now.
Yeah. And for people like me, like I have a registered legit business in the state of Oregon, and for me, I'm battling with people who are just people on Facebook or Instagram who can take good photos, but they're actually not a legit business or anything like that. And sometimes people are getting screwed by not doing contracts or working with legit people and stuff like that. And people got to do the research on who they work with for sure.
Oh, for sure, man. So a little bit of a segue. One of the biggest hurdles of running a business is the day-to-day struggle of being an entrepreneur. It's hard stuff, man, especially in the beginning when you're still figuring things out and you don't have the habits and routines dialed in that really set your day up for success. How do you structure your days, and what's been effective in enabling you to just not just stay afloat, but actually thrive and find joy in your business day in and day out?
For me, it definitely is. Yeah, I definitely need a routine and schedule for my day. Because you can lose track of the day. You can just get lost in doing whatever you want to do, really, because like I said, that free will is nice. But for
Nobody
me,
looking over your shoulder.
yeah, exactly. For me, I'll wake up every day and, I'll have that cup of coffee. I'll write down my list of things that I need to do, photos I need to edit, videos I need to edit, prints I need to order, anything that I need to do. And, I'll set down a list and be like, all right, let's bust these things out right here. Let's do the most important things first. And, we'll work our way down the list. And I think, having that schedule is very important for somebody who's on their day-to-day on their own, because without that, sometimes you'll lose it. And for me, I like to try to keep I'll write down all the things that I need to do, man. I'll make it look heavy, super heavy. Like I'm never gonna get all these things done in that one day, but that's fine. I don't need to, because tomorrow it's another day. I can get those things done tomorrow. And that's the nice thing about being your own boss. But yeah, man,
But you got to be able to prioritize it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Having that,
If you can't see what's important, what's urgent, then
yes.
you're going to fall behind.
Yeah, the most important thing is knowing what's important on that list and making sure you get that list done. Other people might not like Other people don't do lists. Lists aren't their things, but for me, whatever it is for people out there, write it down, get it in your notebook, your planner, whatever it is, and bust it out. Just stay on top of it, be consistent. And that's, I think, for a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, that's the thing that they fall to the wayside on, is being consistent and getting those lists done.
Yeah, dude, 100%. My word of the year is consistency. And that applies to all things: healthy habits, working out, eating well, drinking less, whatever the case may be, all the way to business. Like for me, I use lists. I also use like Asana for project management.
Yep.
And being consistent and actually doing that work, sitting down, putting pen to paper, prioritizing what I need to get done in the day, what's important, what's not, what's urgent, what's not, so that I can figure out the best way to structure my day in between calls and podcasts and all the other things that are going on, or
exactly,
an email from a client that's, got some problem, and then that's sucks an hour down the rabbit hole. So
yep.
If you don't have the structure, you're always going to get distracted by what other people are throwing your way.
Yeah, totally, man. I agree. I mean, that's the big thing, like, is just stay on top of it. Know your goals, write them down.
Your goals.
Yeah. I mean, knowing my goals, writing my stuff down in my planner, and my list, like I was telling you about, my daily list is just, get those goals. And I'll write down everything, man. I'll edit photos, clean the bathroom, whatever
Walk the
it is.
dog.
Yeah, whatever it is, I'll write it all down, man. Check it all off, because by the end of the day, and you get that list done, you'll feel good. You'll feel like you accomplished something. And I think for a lot of people who are transitioning from a day-to-day job, not being their own boss, to now being their own boss, that's a hard transition, because you're like, all right, I'm so used to always having a schedule, and kind of
someone setting my schedule.
That too. And it's like, all right, now how do I do it? So make your own, start just doing it.
100%, man. So another segue, you went through bankruptcy at some point, correct?
Yes, sir.
So I'm really curious because this is something that most people, myself included, do not have a clue about. And I mean, a lot of businesses go bankrupt. That's just the reality of life. Do you have any insights or advice for someone who may be facing that situation at some point? I mean, clearly it wasn't the end of the world for you. You climbed out and got back on the path to success. So what was that like for you?
Yeah, so that my bankruptcy, I was back in my mid-20s, and that was like really before I even dove into photography as like a full-time job or anything like that. But um yeah, that it was a scary thing because I really didn't know like what bankruptcy was going to do or how it was going to affect me, or like I didn't know what it was. It sounds like a scary thing, but I was
It
like,
does.
yeah, it sounds like the worst thing in the world, but it actually helped me out a lot because when I was working, I had two dead end jobs, and I my car kept breaking down. I was using credit cards to help me fix things, and I couldn't pay things on time, and I was just digging myself into a hole like a lot of people do. And I was just like, all right, there's nothing I can do. I filed for bankruptcy, and you have to pay some money for a lawyer and, and go to court, and but through the classes that they make you take for bankruptcy, I learned a lot about just money savings and money management and different things you can do. I was like, wow, this is actually very insightful. And after you go through bankruptcy, there's just lots of things that you're a lot more wary of. I think after you've learned these things from the class, your stress from going through bankruptcy, and you're like you not being able to pay your bills. And yeah, it just really gave me a fresh start and a clean slate, and you can climb out of it. it's
Yeah.
it's it's
That's
not
what
the,
it is designed for at the end of the day.
yeah, yeah, it is not the end of the world. It is scary to think that you have to do that, but from a business standpoint and just like being able to clean your slate, that does help a lot. But yeah, so you're just able not to make any mistakes for a while.
Yep. Yep. Exactly, man. So as a marketing guy, I'm always interested to learn how other small business owners like yourself made it work. So talk to me about launching your business and how you were able to market it and help it grow effectively. Like what worked well and perhaps like what didn't work well. What did you try that totally failed?
Hmm. So yeah, I think Facebook and social media platforms definitely help with, I mean, a lot of businesses. But for me, being able to do photos, I joined a lot of Facebook groups that were for photography or for weddings just locally. And I just kind of started putting myself out there. I kind of started telling people and being like, hey, I'm a photographer. I work locally. Um, at the time, at first, I was just doing people's stuff for free. I was showing people what I had, and people were taking a chance on me.
Yep.
And so yeah, Facebook was a big help with that. And I would say Instagram is a lot of just showing your stuff. I don't really get a lot of leads from Instagram. I tell a lot of people like Facebook is a little bit of a show off place, less than where you're going to get a lot of your business per se. But other people might have luck with that too. But I would say that the social media platforms were just the main start for me in getting into Facebook groups. And then we talked about the website, having that website where people can go. That was the other big thing for me. I get a lot of my leads through my website. And yeah, I think just at first setting up a Facebook page and Instagram page that people can go to. Nowadays, depending on what your business is, you can set up TikTok, YouTube, all sorts of other things depending on what you're trying to promote, you know. And I think that it's a lot easier for people to promote their businesses nowadays through all these
Oh yeah.
different platforms like that.
Easier now than ever before, for sure.
Yeah. And it's really just about, making sure you have a solid platform, like don't just start because you want to start and be prepared, have good
Have a
photos.
plan.
Yeah, have good photos, have a good, a menu or whatever it is you're selling, or whatever it is, just have a good plan, go into it with, prepared. And I think that'll always help your start a lot if you look professional compared to just,
Yeah.
you know
It's always shocking to me. Like you find even established businesses that have been around for years that have zero online presence. Like they are just not findable whatsoever. And,
mhm.
I mean, of course, you can still make it. If you've got a great business, you can create referrals. There's a lot of other things you can do, but think about how much easier it's going to be if you do have that solid foundation. You are findable. When people do look you up, they find something that's impressive and that leads them down the path that you want them to take to that desired next step. And like you said, you need to have a plan. You don't want to just go into it and create a Facebook page, create an Instagram, throw up a free GoDaddy site that looks terrible, and then just leave it in the graveyard, never to give it much attention again. Like you gotta, again, be consistent and go
Yeah,
in and nurture it just like a garden, and then it's gonna yield fruit as long as you keep up the work, make sure that you're following the plan that you set, looking at best examples that you can find out there for inspiration. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's so many great resources out there, and getting the word out, Facebook groups, any online community, especially when you're getting started,
mhm.
like giving away value for free. In your case, like getting clients and doing work for free to build up your portfolio, but also I'm sure getting reviews from those people. So like you're getting value from it. You're building up credibility. Those people can send you referrals. It's all about putting yourself out there and
Exactly.
building a community.
Exactly. Yeah, and yeah, being personable in my line of work, just yeah, word of mouth, people saying, hey, I worked with this awesome photographer. He was really good. He took good photos of our kids. He can take good photos of your kids too,
Yeah.
that's huge in my line of work as well, because yeah, a lot of the time, people will see things on the internet, but they need that more person to person connection. And
Yeah,
if good word of mouth helps a lot as well.
for sure. Referral is always going to be a better lead than somebody that just finds you cold. And
Yeah.
having that personal touch, building that relationship, that's what it's all about. So we've talked a lot about business, but business is just the vehicle that enables us to live fulfilling lives and find joy outside of work. At least that's the case for me. I know there's some people that just like to work, but I like to get my work done and then go do fun stuff with my friends and family. But one of
Exactly.
the yeah, exactly. But one of the biggest hurdles that I think we all face at one time or another is living a well-rounded life and doing the things that bring us joy with the people we care about most. So what is living a well-rounded, well-balanced life between business and your passions, your hobbies, your family look like for you?
And that was a big part of why I wanted to run my own business, was because I wanted to live a more rounded life. When I was working two jobs at a time, I was stressed, and was didn't feel like I had that same relationship with my family or my parents or my girlfriend and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, for me, having a well-rounded life means a lot. Like being able to spend time with my family and, my parents. Like I know they're not going to be around forever, so I want to be
Yeah,
able to
100%.
cherish those moments with them that I am able to have. And then at the same time, my own time, being able to go out and go snowboarding and go hiking with my dog and go camping and those types of things. Being able to, you know, experience all the things that I want to experience. That's what it means to have a well-rounded life to me, because like I'm able to experience love, I'm able to experience joy, I'm able to experience, all the things that I want to experience, but while still being able to get work done and pay the bills and that type of thing. And And I think that's at the end of the day, it's like you got to decide what's really important to you. Like, is having all these materialistic things and, stacking up all this money and, building an empire. And is that what is important to you? Is that what makes you
Yeah.
happy? Chase it, do it.
Yeah. If it is, great.
Yeah,
But you got to know.
for me, it's a little bit different. Like, I want to be able to travel and see the world and, spend time with my girlfriend and, do those things and
Yeah. I'm with you, man.
go to the gym and stay healthy and, got to be able to, snowboard and get out there and not die.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do those things for as long as I possibly can. So
Yeah.
prioritizing health is huge for me. And that means like carving out the time to go to the gym, carving out the time to, meditate and to grocery shop and get healthy food in our fridge and our pantries so that we can cook good meals at home and aren't just like, oh yeah, let's go eat out again because we failed to plan.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think find those things that are important to you in your life and, try to mold that into everything that you do. Like, go on trips, plan trips, go spend time with your loved ones, do the things you want to do because
Yeah.
it's not that much time.
No. So you got to design your business or whatever you do around that so
Yeah.
that it doesn't keep just getting punted off or you find that you just don't have time for it. If you live it intentionally by design, then you're going to ultimately get to reap the rewards and follow through on what does bring you joy. So
Exactly.
I think like me, I mean, you're someone who wakes up most mornings, I would guess, with a positive mindset. And you can keep that going even when shit hits the fan for the most part. Do you have is that kind of
Uh,
true? You
from
seem like a
what
positive guy.
from what my friends tell me, that is spot on.
All right. So do you have any like habits or practices that enable you to maintain that positive vibe, that positive mindset and solve problems even when things get tough?
Yeah, so I mean, this probably started way back when, but for me, it first came to me when I realized that, you know, life is short and how much time am I going to be wasting on being stressed or upset or worried about situations that I can't control? So I was just like, all right, I'm going to try to wake up every morning, be positive, be motivated, do the things that I need to do. And, you know, at first, when you're first trying to practice those things, sometimes that can be hard. I mean, even still, I get stressed about
Oh,
things
yeah.
and it bugs me, but I feel like now as I try to practice those things more and I have a routine of, right, coffee, de-stress, in the morning, see what I need to do. As I put these habits in place, like it just became easier to handle situations with a more calm and easy mindset, I think. And I mean, I didn't always I wasn't always like this. I think when I was in my younger 20s, I could get triggered and a lot more, stressed easier. But as I got older, like I said, just trying to practice these things and, certain situations that I come across with people on a day-to-day basis, like people are working in a customer service job and people are coming into you and they're yelling at you or they're upset about whatever. It's like, you have to realize, like, maybe that person's going through something in their day that's not all on you. Try not to weigh it on you as much, like. And so I try to look at that same. If I'm going out and I'm, dealing with people and that's how they're acting, that's kind of how I try to let it fall off on my shoulders, is like, you know people are going through a lot of things in their day-to-day life all around us, and people are stressed. And if I'm gonna contribute one thing to society, it's gonna be, I'm gonna try to be, a good, positive, happy person out there, because we need a lot more of that in this world, because it's just, man, it's hard sometimes for people to be like that. And I wish more people could wake up with the same mindset I have sometimes.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's hard though. It is hard. And I think having the right routines and training yourself through those routines and habits to be able to handle the tough situations, whatever it may be, it gets easier the more consistent you are with it. And I love what you said, but just about being that source of positivity. Because like for me, it's the same. I want to be a beacon of love, a beacon of positivity, a beacon of support for the lives of people around me, whether it's my friends, my family, or just a random stranger I come across, in my day-to-day life that looks like they're having a hard time. And
Exactly.
it's a lot easier when you're not focused and stressed about something that didn't go well in your business that day or at work or at home, being able to see the bright and focus on, even if it is really bad right now, it's going to pass and there's going to be joy to be had down the road. That's how I always try to think about it, is like, we'll get through this.
Same. Like I said, I've been in the bottom, and so for me, it's like, man, it's definitely gonna get better because I've been there, and we're definitely not there. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. And so you're an adventurous dude. Like you said, you like to snowboard, you like to travel, you like to explore. You were a semi-pro football coach, which we haven't talked about yet. Maybe we should. You
yeah.
like to do all this epic stuff. Do you have any like rules or habits or ways of structuring your life to create more adventure and get to do those fun things that you like to do?
Man, for me, it's take a trip every year, no matter what. Like
Yes,
I
yes.
I have to. Like we work so hard, man. So it's like reap the rewards of what all this hard work that we put in, you know? So it's
Don't
like
put it off. Yeah.
exactly. So it's like every year I try to take, a good, at least a week and a half, 2 week long trip, somewhere that I haven't been. And yeah, for me, that's my main habit is just take a trip every year. And, you know,
Do you do it spontaneously, or do you get it on the books early so
oh
that
yeah.
it's going to
So
happen?
so I'm a big planner, man.
Yeah.
So I like to plan it out. I like to research all the places I'm going,
Yeah.
all everything. So yeah, I usually try to like to get it on the books pretty far in advance and then, plan everything out. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, yeah, for me it's just life is short and there's so many cool places to go and cultures to experience and foods to try and all sorts of things. And man, get out there and live it because it's an amazing world out there.
It is an amazing world, man. And most of us anyway, can never even see a tiny fraction of it all.
Yeah.
And you gotta prioritize it if that's what you like to do. Some people don't like to travel, and that's totally fine. But if it's something that you desire, I think, like, just think about my parents. Like, they never really traveled much, and I think they thought they would have the time and the health and the ability to do it more when they were retired, and that's just not the case, man. They're not as mobile as they probably thought they would be, so they're limited in what they can do, and just didn't get to experience it to the level that I think they wish they had. So
Yeah, when I was younger, I lived with my grandparents for a while, and my grandpa was big into camping and fishing and
mhm.
hunting and everything like that. And so when I was young, he took me out and I got to do a lot of that. And I think that really started my love for, being outside, traveling. And he was always ambitious, always going. My grandparents were always going on cool trips with their friends to different places all over the place. And I was like, man, I want to do that. And then when my grandpa passed away, people who came to his memorial of life, they all talked about that. Like my grandpa had friends from all over the place come, and and I was just like, I want that to be, how I go when I pass. I want to be remembered like that. And so I was just like, all right, travel, do what I like, do what I love to do. And I was like, how can I do that? And so photography was it.
There you go, man. And that's something that allows you to travel and
Yeah.
practice what you love no matter where you go. So I love that, man. You're living your dreams. And part of our focus is in the show is looking at entrepreneurship through the lens of being an adventure. And in every great adventure story, there's a guide or a mentor who leads the hero down the path to reaching their goal. So bringing back that you were a head football coach for a semi-pro team. So like you kind of were that guide for your players, for your team. What were like some principles or things that you really focused on instilling in your team to help them overcome obstacles to live up to their full potential? Like, do you have any kind of rules that you followed there or things that come to mind that were consistent throughout your coaching career?
For one, yeah, trying to keep a level head. I know
Yeah.
sometimes in football you can get a little hot-headed
Oh, for
for
sure.
sure. And I mean, I was a football player for a long time. Every football player's got an ego, no matter what they say. And so sometimes when you're talking to guys that, are very passionate about, a sport that they're playing, it's like, all right, how am I going to come across to these guys? So for one, it was like, all right, yeah, keep a level head for one. And then the other things are love what you're doing out there. you know for me, it was all about a brotherhood and a bond that we had as like a family, and the passion for just playing a sport that you love, because football it's a tough sport. If you haven't played football, it's kind of hard to understand like what it's like to be out on a football field with
Yeah,
11 guys literally going to battle basically. And
100%.
yeah, it's like it's all about passion. And I think that's led me through a lot of the things that I do in life, and that was coaching too. Like, so I wanted these kids to be motivated about being there, showing up, doing what they love to do, and then at the same time be happy and enjoy what they're doing,
Yeah,
because
you won't get to do it forever.
yeah, exactly. Our football is not meant for our bodies to be played forever. That is for sure. And yeah, man. So coaching, I just wanted to make sure that I was always there for those guys. I always wanted to be, an ear for those guys. I always wanted to make sure that if they needed something, they could call me, text me, whatever. And yeah, man, it was all about just allowing those guys to have a person that they could come to, have a solid structure, because I love to plan things,
Yeah.
and making sure that everything was organized for those guys, and so they could just have fun.
Yeah. Play the sport. I mean, I love it, man. And when I played football, it was a brotherhood. I mean, you are going to battle out there for 60 minutes, and you gotta love and care for every single one of your brothers that are standing beside you, because you put in the work to get there. You put the plan in place, your coaches organized it, and now it's your time to implement it together. So
Yeah,
it's a beautiful
yeah,
thing.
yeah. And like I said, for me, the motivation was like I had been through it all, man. I felt like for these kids that there was nothing that they couldn't come to and ask me about, and so I was just like, I will be that motivator for those guys. And I saw the coaches that they had in the past, and I wanted to make a change in the culture, and you know I felt like I did that for those kids, and played out well.
Love it, man. So as we wrap things up, I have a choose your own adventure question. So you can pick whichever you like, or do both if you want. But what's your favorite place you visited in the past few years, or what is a recent adventure that you went on? And in either case, what was it like? What made it so memorable? What was like a favorite meal or drink you had there? And did you learn anything from the experience that you took away?
All right, I'll tell a funny adventure that I went on recently, a really fun adventure. It was this past summer, this past August. My girlfriend and I, we went to North Cascades National Park up in
Yeah.
Washington. We did this hike that we were going to, I think it was called the North Cascades Trail, I believe. But anyways, So I'm like reading the hike. I'm like, it's about 10 miles, nothing too crazy, you know. And so when we start going on this adventure, we're getting torn apart by biting flies
The
and
worst.
oh, dude, the absolute worst. And couldn't keep them off of us. The bug spray that we had didn't work for biting flies. And so my girlfriend was hating me the whole way up. Shit, like the absolute worst. But through the struggle of all the switchbacks, I think there was probably 50 switchbacks that we went through, and all the struggle of the biting flies, we got to the top, and it was an absolutely beautiful, amazing view that I took a photo of that I now sell for one of my prints,
Nice.
like through photography. But man, the struggle of getting up there through all the biting flies, I thought my girlfriend was gonna rip my head off. I told her, I was just like, we're almost there, we're almost there.
Didn't say anything about the flies. It's not my fault.
It did not. And so, but man, I've been to lots, and like you were saying, the last 5 years, like I've been to lots of beautiful places, lots of national parks and stuff like that. But top of my list is still gonna be Utah. I love Utah. That place is just so different and unique, beautiful. Being from the Pacific Northwest, we don't have big, beautiful red rocks like that for sure.
We don't.
So, I mean, if you haven't been to Utah, go. It's beautiful out there.
Love it. Yeah, it's on the top of my list. I want to make a road trip out there here. Maybe this summer. We'll see. So, Tyler, my man, where can we find you online? Where can we support you? Website, socials, things like that.
Man, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all under Lost in the Trees Media.
Lost in the Trees Media.
Yeah, my website, lostinthetreesmedia.com. All really easy to find. Google search me, Lost in the Trees Media, everywhere.
Boom. Well, we'll put it in the show notes for everyone listening. And brother, man, this was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me. And you're on a path to prosperity, and you're living life intentionally by design. You're not reacting to what life throws at you. And I have no doubt that you're going to help a lot of people along the way. So I look forward to following your journey and cheering you on, my man. So thanks again.
Thank you so much, brother. It was great talking.
And until next time, bro.
You too, man.
To all of our Adventurous listeners, thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Please be sure to subscribe, download, and share this on social media or with someone you know will get some value from it. Leaving a review goes a long way in helping people find the show, and I personally appreciate reading them when they come in. So please go drop one if you have the time. We'll see you all next week, and remember, whether we're talking about business or the things that bring us joy outside of work, life is meant for exploring. So go out there and live it one adventure at a time.